Hey, what's going on? It's your boy JoeThunder back once again with another episode of the Smoking JoeThunder podcast. Got the homie Elvis Freshlee in the building today.
Yo, what's going on, man?
How you doing, brother?
Chilling, you know.
Another day, another dollar.
Making it.
Getting that money.
You know.
Yeah,
we're out here.
We got a special co-host Big Crook with us on the building too. What's going on, Crook?
What's going down, fam? Thanks.
Yeah,
I'm doing good. I want to thank you guys for having me as a co-host.
Yeah,
right
appreciate you, man.
coming out.
And real quick, shout out to bgood, our official sponsor. You know what I mean? Over there on 11 West Hampden.
You know, 114th and Cherokee and Northland.
Right across the street from the Boondocks.
Right off that,
you know
right across the highway.
Highway, not street. Highway. You
It's
know
a
what I'm
whole
talking
ass
about.
highway.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man, we got a banger for you today, and you don't even know how this motherfucker is, because we got one of the fucking best graffiti bombers artists in the motherfucking world. Like, no cap. Like, this motherfucker's taking styles, and every time he grabs a can, whether it's legal, illegal, whatever, he's just changing the motherfucking game. Am I lying or what?
No, you definitely ain't.
Motherfucker beast mode. Like, it don't really
I'm definitely
get...
pumped to have this interview today for
Right.
sure, because that was...
King
We're
of Kings.
looking forward to it.
You know what I mean? We got Shoe in the building, TKO.
Yeah, what up? What
L4WO
up,
A.
man?
Shoe in the crib.
You know what I'm saying? What's going down? G?
Nah, man. Thank you for having me. I mean, I know I've done a couple with you guys before, but you know, this time I'm solo dolo. So
Solo dolo, man. We're gonna get to the get and let them know what kind of where it all started. And like, man, you've definitely elevated. And you elevate so many people around you. It's wild. Like, you're a motivator.
I appreciate that, man. That's one thing I'm really big on myself about is you know, when I die, I want people to remember me as somebody that maybe had inspired them
For real.
in one form of art, you know what I mean, or another. So yeah, appreciate that.
Nah, you've inspired a gang of people, and like Elvis like says all the time, bro. Tell him about like the one thing, bro, that really kind of sticks out with this cat right here. You said it.
I always say it.
times.
I know, I do always say it. No, for real. The reason I say you're my favorite graffiti writer is because you paint with people and you know, usually sometimes, unless it depends on who you're painting with, but match their style and burn them. You know, it's like
I appreciate that.
Really, bro. Every time I'm like, damn, this motherfucker.
No, I appreciate it, man. To me, it's you know, it's not only just matching styles. It's like matching energy.
Yeah.
You know, so if someone is coming with that raw, aggressive energy, then I definitely try to match that. Or someone just coming with some nice, clean, readable, you know, legible shit, then I don't mind matching that as well. You know, it definitely keeps it interesting for me, and then it keeps it fun. You know what I mean? And to me, graffiti is you know, I got my career, I got a family and shit, and so graffiti to me is it's an outlet, and I've always looked at it like that. So, you know, to have fun and remember why I do this originally is important to me. So, yeah, man.
Do you remember the first thing that kind of inspired you to want to write and just hit the walls and stuff?
I think, you know, while growing up in Albuquerque, man, there's a big, for one, there was a big hip hop scene back in the day. Also, there's a big gang culture. So I think some of the early on influences came from like gang graffiti. You know, I grew up in the hood in Albuquerque, man. So a lot of the vadios, you know, that were in the area, man, they're block letters. You know, the script writing, the old E.
I think that's like the sickest shit, bro. Like,
yeah, fonts.
I mean, that's like where it's from too. You know, that's where all that shit's originally from.
Yeah, you know, and so growing up seeing all that, and then later on getting into hip hop, I would see like graffiti magazines and shit back in the day, and then you know, I kind of meshed it all together. You know what I'm saying? So I took inspiration from all of that, man. Like font lettering. You know, doing Old English has a certain formula, you know, and then wildstyle, you know, loose graffiti, layers on layers also has a certain formula. But I kind of mesh it all, everything I'm inspired by. Because at the end of the day, man, I'm a fan of it all. You know, I don't really have one style. I don't like to just focus on one thing, you know. So I take all the inspirations from everything that I grew up from, and even emotions and energy and who I'm with and everything, man. I think all that plays a part, you know.
Hell yeah,
you do
bro.
but even having said that, you inside of that, you even have original styles that like nobody could be like, oh yeah,
Appreciate it.
he got that from me or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I don't see it, and I really there's some shit that I'm like,
Nah,
damn.
you know what's up, man. You're actually analyzing a lot of it, and you know, I think even some of that, I try to make it so crazy to where motherfuckers can't even bite my shit.
How could you bite that?
You know what I'm saying?
I know,
but then that goes
know.
back to your ism, I call it. My homie Payer, shout out to Payer, AE Mob. He taught me to pay attention more to my ism, my own flavor, that's my own energy that's within myself. So when I started paying attention to that, you know, no one could be you. It doesn't matter how hard they could try. The only one who could be you is you. And so I strive to be the best version of what I like to do and what I'm inspired by and mesh it together. So, yeah, man. But then when you channel in on that and you acknowledge it and understand a little bit of it, and then sky's the limit, because I pushed myself to limits that I didn't even know I had. I look back at pieces I did. I'm like, how in the fuck did I do that? And the only thing, I don't even really know how anything's gonna come out. I just know I believe in myself so much that when I approach anything, that I'm just like, fuck it. You know what I mean? I go for it, and so, most of the time it works out. So I've had a few fails as well, but I learned from that. So next time I go and approach it again, it gives me a little bit more of a direction to take it when I get stuck. You know,
there's no success without failure.
That's what it is, man. Ain't no one perfect, bro. And someone starts somewhere. You know what I'm saying? I got pictures, man. I was looking at some old photos of shit when I was like 13, 14, man. No letter structure, no nothing, no effects, nothing, man. But at the same time, I was just like, man, that's crazy how far I've came. You know what I'm saying? And learn.
Definitely. I've seen it too, and I mean, even from back in the day, seeing like old shit, to now, and even when you wrote Another Name, too.
Yeah.
I really seen like you were doing, every letter was different type shit, just a bunch of shit where I was like, damn, he's like flexing on fools. And then when you came back to Shoe, bro, it was like you came back with the vengeance or something. Like I was like, whoa, this was crushing shit. And like I said, with those original styles, bro, I really seen I've seen people almost like even attempt it, and they can't, because there's just something about the way that you I like that you said that it was from yourself, your ism, your thing, because that's truly what it is, man. And I respect the shit out of that.
Yeah, and like that's important.
It's important. You can see it in that work, bro.
Right.
Truly.
No, I appreciate it, man. I really do appreciate when people acknowledge that, because that lets me know that they're on that same game. You know what I'm saying?
They're paying attention.
Yeah, and there's different levels to thinking about shit and perspectives. And when you see someone else who's on that level somewhat, man, you're like, yeah, that's dope, because it's not everyone approaches shit like that, and that's cool. I'm not saying my way is the only way, but when you're on that level, it's dope to acknowledge other people, like-minded individuals with that, and creativity-ness.
Yeah,
no, for sure.
I get caught up in there's a formula to graffiti, and I have to follow this thing that I know what graffiti is. I know the rules now.
Not at all. There are no rules.
I know what it is, but like, no, there is. There is. But once you know them, and you're so like, this is a part of you. You grew with graffiti was a part of your life for a long fucking time, and you grew with it, and you knew the rules, all the shit that you have to do, the structure of a piece. But within that, once you have that, like, and then truly being like, all right, now I can break the rules because I know them all.
It's foundation, bro.
I could do me and not worry about what has been traditionally good in graffiti.
Yeah, foundation is. I always tell like younger graffiti writers, man, like once you can't build a house without a foundation, a strong foundation. Right. So once you learn the basics of letter structure, and to me, that's one thing I'm real big on. I'm very picky about that. Like, is letter structure, bro. Like if I can't read your shit and you have all these effects and all this crazy shit, to me it just like automatically like disqualifies your credit. You know what I'm saying? So to me, I take the elements of like letter structure, composition, how well your fluidity and all that shit, you know. And so I take all that shit into consideration with my own pieces. So I want to make sure it's legible enough, and then, you know, freak it to where it's got little crazy details or transparent layering effect, you know, all this crazy shit. Yeah, so I'm a mesh of all that shit, but it always goes back to the foundation, man, the basics of this shit, you know.
Yeah, because like you said, motherfuckers do highlights and blings and extra whistles and bells and all that shit on
doodads.
And some puffs and some spritzes and they don't have no fucking composition. They have no real letter structure. And what they're doing is sick, bro. I know a bunch of people. I have homies, good friends who are
we all do.
Who are really, I mean, they're sick as fuck.
Oh man.
They're sick. But their letter, I'm like, bro.
Letter structure,
you know, it is. And me too, you know, and that's something that I'm until I had 3 people that I really looked up to in graffiti tell me that you're dope, but like you know how to paint. Obviously, they're like, you know how to paint.
Can control,
But like, what's up with your letter? You gotta like really think about where you're putting shit.
That's
like,
good,
And once I really honed in on that, you know what I mean, and really was like, all right, I'm gonna work on that. I felt like that was when I started getting better at graffiti. You know what I mean? Still, I'm working on it now. There's still shit. I'm like, that art's too.
Well, you're your own critiquer, you know? At the end of the day, too.
Right. But until I went to foundation, straight letters, doing fucking, people want to like skip all that shit and do sick ass wild styles right away.
You can't. I mean, you know what's funny is like I recently took on boxing with my son, and one of the major key things they teach you right off the bat is technique. You know what I'm saying? And you know that's like fucking, you know,
foundation.
It's equivalent to like foundation and all that shit. You know what I'm saying? But like without technique and form, you really don't have anything to fall back on. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, that's major. That's like major shit right there.
That's dope, man. Hey, let's talk about like the early years of growing up in Albuquerque, man. Did you like choose like graffiti over the gangs? Was it like your way not to join the gang?
Hell yeah, man. You know, both my parents are from Barrios, you know what I'm saying?
The South Valley, right? Valley?
Yeah, my mom's from Barela. She's more downtown Albuquerque, and my dad is you know, he's from Duranes, which is like I guess it's like it's considered the North Valley. But yeah, they're, you know, I've, you know, uncles and aunties and all that shit in that gang life and shit. I learned from them early on. I seen a lot of fucked up shit that I probably shouldn't have seen early on, so I got traumatized, you know what I mean? And yeah, man, I didn't want to join a gang. I was pretty close to at one point. I'm glad I didn't, but I'm glad I didn't take that route. Instead, I had a couple homies that were into who actually grew up the same as me. You know, they had a dysfunctional family, had family members that were strung out. They didn't want to be in a gang either, so we were like, well, you know, like we got to stick together and shit. And then they listened to hip hop. They were into like Wu-Tang and Nas early.
I was gonna say, what were they bumping in Albuquerque in those days?
Shit, man, you know what, man? Like, I remember Nas back in the day was big and Big Pun, and then Grave Diggers was like my first underground hip hop shit. That kind of like changed my whole. They changed my whole like perspective on underground music, and then from there I got into like, like Boot Camp Click, and then a lot of East Coast rap, you know what I'm saying? Lost Boys and Cannabis even, and then even old school shit too. Yeah, like I didn't really. Like growing up, I was kind of. All day.
What was crazy is like Albuquerque, for being so small, they have like the spot that had all the shit. What was
LA Underground.
LA Underground, man. Shout out to them. They show mad love, man.
I remember buying 50 MCs on tape there, and like a gang of mixtapes.
Yeah,
so they had the music. They had the assets.
Albuquerque was blessed to have a hip hop shop like them, bro. And they're still around, still kicking it, bro. So shout out to them, man. But yeah, I remember
in tune with the culture.
Yeah,
like,
big time.
Going on.
Yeah,
smooching on pads for the fucking b-boys and shit. They knew what everybody needed. It was dope.
Yeah, so you know, growing up, man, I would go over there after I got into hip hop. I would go over there, you know, and I would ask them like, you know, what was the latest shit that came out, and I remember buying some like Jedi Mind Trick shit and Necro and all this, and just being blown away, you know. And
that sounds like some Albuquerque shit, you know.
Well, it was, man. Like Albuquerque is weird, man. 'Cause it's like
hip hop.
Yeah, there's a big New York influence in Albuquerque, and then there's also a big LA influence there. So it was a mesh of the two cultures, and that was dope to me. I was like,
That's
damn.
like out here, kind of. I would say.
Colorado.
Yeah.
yeah.
A little bit, yeah, but
It's
in
more
Albuquerque,
gangster out there, though. It's more Hispanic Chicano.
In
It's
Albuquerque,
more-
right?
more
Yeah.
Mexico.
And it's more hip hop too. It's like East Coast. Over here, everybody's all fucking West Coast. I feel like a lot of people are leaning a little more West Coast hip hop. Whereas in Albuquerque, cats are like, they wanted lyrical, like East Coast type of vibe.
That's how
Like, cats
Exhibit
were
was
doing
produced
that
then,
kind of
right?
shit.
Yeah. Do you remember? Did you know?
Yeah.
Do you remember him from the scene? Because he was from there, right? Is that right?
So he's not from there, but he's from Detroit. Well, from what I know, he was from Detroit. His dad was a school teacher out there in Albuquerque, and he got into it with his mom or something like that, and then moved with his dad in Albuquerque. And I think maybe like middle school, early high school, he was out in Albuquerque.
Okay.
But he was doing his thing out there. I remember hearing rumors and shit because he used to fuck with this group called I think they're called Empty Pockets.
Okay.
And they were like a local rap group from Albuquerque, but he was fucking with them. And then from what I understand, he was really hot in Albuquerque, and he ended up he bounced out to LA basically with nothing. His car, that was it, some chains, and he went out there and
Said, "Pay my ride." No,
nah, this is like way before all
I
that,
know.
man. But he and then he linked up with the alcoholics somehow.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah,
Right.
and then did shit with them, and then later caught attention from Dr. Dre, and just blew up after that, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, man. Shout out to Exhibit, man. He be repping, you know, here and there. I be hearing them rapping and shit, so that's cool.
Okay.
There's not too many people that have you know, a lot of people think of Albuquerque as like Heisenberg and fucking Breaking Bad and all
there's
that
a lot of
shit.
fighters.
Or cops back in the day and
There's a lot of,
shit.
like really good. I mean, there's
Yeah, UFC,
Yeah.
man.
Shout out to
Fighting
the
is
Diaz brothers.
all
yeah.
that
Johnny
shit.
Tapia.
Johnny
And,
Tapia,
fighting is,
RIP.
you know, because in New Mexico, Albuquerque, man, it's, you know, we're a bunch of small people, man,
Bones
Chicanos and
Jones,
shit.
right, too.
So we don't get a lot of these like athletes that are 6'6" and all that, man. So you know, and out there it's tough, man. You gotta have tough skin to grow up out there. So a lot of people are fighting. You know, it's a everyday life right there. So. So fighting became a big part of the culture, man, and yeah, Johnny Tapia is a product of that.
Legend, R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. man, and Danny Romero, and you know, Holly Holmes, and a lot of them, man.
Yeah, Holly Holmes. she's a
John
big-
Jones, shout out to John Jones and shit too.
Yeah, John Jones.
Yeah, John Jones probably. He could have been the best ever, or he's still arguably. I mean, his argument. But anyway.
Hey, let's get back to like those graffiti days in Albuquerque.
Yeah.
Bro. How'd you kind of get started doing graffiti?
Like I said, man, just being inspired from my surroundings growing up, and then I've always been an artist. Always, man.
Always drawing this shit?
Always drawing portraits of my sister and you know, family members, my aunties.
Yeah, it's
and-
family down there. That's how they grow.
Yeah. So I've always been an artist. So I think one of my homies had a black book, and I got into graffiti when I was 14 years old. It was freshman year of high school, I remember. But one of my homies, Joel, shout out to him. He had a black book, and I remember just flipping through it, and it had all these like vibrant, crazy elaborate pieces in them, bro. And I just remember being blown away by that. Then he would add like a little character next to his piece. You know what I'm saying? And I related more to like the character.
Was he doing the pieces too?
Yeah. It was his black book, but you know the way the black books work, especially in high school, you hand them out to people that you know are gonna burn it. You know what I mean? That are gonna do some nice shit in there. Excuse me. So you know he had it filled pretty good, bro. So I remember flipping through and just being inspired. And he's like, you know what, fucking. Why don't you take it home for a couple of days, bro, and then bring it back, you know what I mean? But like, you know, here's some mark. I didn't have nothing. He gave me some markers, and he's like, here, bro, you know, take a couple of days on it, and then, you know, just bring it back when you're done. I was like, all right, cool. And I went home and I went on the internet. Back in the day, they had a website called Art Crimes. I don't know if you guys remember that shit.
Oh, yeah. Art Crimes.
So I went on there.
list of everybody.
Yeah. And they had like every graffiti writer in the world in that shit. And I didn't have a graffiti name, bro. And I didn't tell my homie either, you know? So
you had to come up with some
I
shit
went on
now.
there and I remember I think I picked like the third name that popped up and shit. It was like Arson or some shit like that. And then I did like I did an arson piece with like a little Wu-Tang W. I just threw it in there because I was into Wu at that time, and it had nothing to do with anything. I just thought it'd be cool, whatever. And so I did an arson. It was horrible. You know what I mean? But from that point on, I knew I was like, man, this is dope. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then my homie would have graffiti magazines, and I remember seeing like Bates and all these old school Lumen and Dame and Dare and all these fools in these magazines, bro, from overseas. And I just remember like, damn, you could do that shit on wall. That looks 3-dimensional. That looks like it's gonna pop out at me. Wow, because I was always attracted to the realism from being younger, drawing portraits and shit. So the 3D aspect of it was like mind blowing to me, and I was like, that's what I want to do, man.
Hell yeah! And when did you move to Denver?
So, my stepdad, so my mom and so I was raised by my mom and my stepdad, and then my mom ended up leaving the house for the street life when I was about 13. So she bailed out. So it was my dad, me, my brother, and my sister. And my sister was a baby at the time, so he had 2 teenagers and an infant. Baby. Anyways, he was a single dad. You know, most people get raised by their single moms. I was lucky enough to be raised by my single dad.
Yeah, that shit's rare, bro.
So he was having a hard time, bro. It was rough, and then there wasn't a whole lot of money at the time, and he was working this job, and he ended up getting a job offer in I think it was like El Paso, Utah, and Denver, Colorado, and he was like, "Fuck it, Denver." I want to go check out Denver. Fuck it, cause like to us in Albuquerque, Denver's a big city. Right. So he was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna move out there and try to give these kids like a better opportunity, education wise, everything, right?" So yeah, one day, man, he's just like, "You know what? We're gonna move to Denver," and I was like, "Fuck, for real?"
How much notice?
I was like 16. I was like 16 years old, I think, and it was. See, like, so he made up his mind because he got the job offer and it was quick. They wanted him to come ASAP. Right. So he got the job offer and he moved my brother and my sister out first. I was at the time I was into like my homies and all this, and I found hip hop and graffiti, so I was all into it. And I didn't want to go at first, you know what I mean? Right. I was like, nah, I'm gonna stay behind and shit. So I stayed with one of my uncles. And like a year went by and shit, and then I started fucking up at school. And he's like, "You know what, motherfucker, you're coming out here whether you like it or not." Right. And I was like, "Fuck it, then. All right, whatever." I was getting in trouble. I was going to jail and shit. I was fucking up. So I ended up moving out here when I was about 16. I want to say.
Right about the start of high school.
I was in high school. I think I was like a sophomore, maybe junior, going into junior year. I think it was like a sophomore.
Right, and then you were bringing your graffiti to Denver.
Yeah, so I had
thing, right?
Yeah, I had brought my whatever I thought was dope at the time out here, and I linked up with a couple of homies. Yeah, fucking the first high school I went to was Northglenn High School. And I met like a few homies there, but they weren't as serious as I was. You know what I'm saying? They kind of did it like, occasionally, or like their parents didn't let them. So then I went to a more fucked up school, and it was called Hinckley High School in Aurora. And that shit was filled with some bunch of goons and shit. And that's where I met my homie Hizer, bro. And
shout out.
Yeah, shout out to my crazy ass homie Hizer, man. And I met my homie Hizer. Then from there I met my homie Rove, and then we were just youngsters, bro. And they were from LA. And LA graffiti, they were on their whole different shit back then.
Even different from Albuquerque, right?
Oh, way different, bro. That was one of Albuquerque's inspirations.
Like you're saying, Albuquerque's more East Coast influence, where like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's
just
both.
Smaller too, and like they don't have the same type of spots, the same amount of people doing it.
Exactly.
It's just smart to scale down. Like I say, we're 10 years behind LA. Albuquerque's 10 years behind us.
Oh
maybe
for sure.
15.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean? I give them the 10 though.
No, yeah, it's old school, bro. Like they still low ride and all that shit out there, and the bald heads and the whole the whole Cholo look and shit is like still popping over there and shit. But so then I met up with like Hizer, and that fool would fucking sneak out at night. He'd steal his mom's car, I remember, and we'd go out and go paint fucking the streets of Aurora it started with Aurora and shit, because we didn't want to go too far. Right. And then eventually it just ventured out into Montbello, Denver, right? Bro. Montbello too, bro. Because
Hizer had Montbello, right?
Yeah. So it started Aurora, Montbello, the east side, all that shit, and then it went out to Denver. I remember, and yeah, man, and it just took off from there.
Hey, one of the funny stories you told me over the years, can you tell, is you were like on the news. You were on like TV for graffiti, right? When you were younger.
Couple times, yeah.
You said a couple times. Can you kind of tell the one that your dad seen when you guys got home?
Yeah, so it was when they were building. What was it called? T-Rex or some
Light rail or
shit.
some shit.
Yeah,
like that.
T-Rex was there. Yeah,
T-Rex. It was like off I-25 or whatever, and they were doing construction. You know, like they were working on it, and I remember one night I was just like, man, I'm gonna go do like a little yellow fill right off the fucking freeway right there, and I went and I did it, bro, and it was ugly ass yellow, fucking brownish yellow. It was ugly as fuck. It was like a mist tint from Home Depot. It was like $5 or some shit, and I ended up doing it, fucking you know, fucking going back home, you know, and you know, thinking I was the shit. And I remember couple nights later, bro, me and my family were like eating dinner and shit, and it was me, my dad, and then his girlfriend at the time, and we're watching the news and shit, and all of a sudden they're like, graffiti has become a problem, and during this T-Rex project, and then they flash a big old fucking ugly ass yellow shoe, big as fuck on the whole screen, and my dad just fucking looks at me and shakes his fucking head, and it's like, you motherfucker. And then he fucking tells his girlfriend and shit. She's like, "Wow, like, oh, what's going on?" You know, like, he's like, "This motherfucker," and he fucking slaps me up and shit. And I'm like,
on the fucking news.
You know, like, this is what I'm doing, man. Like, you know what I mean? And he's like, "Motherfucker, man."
That's sick though. Still, you're like getting punished, but it's still like,
yeah. At the same, I'm over here getting hit by him and shit. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
How many graph writers saw
On the
that
news,
shit? Yeah.
everybody's seen that shit.
Yeah, it was ugly as fuck too. But I was so proud of that shit, man. You know, back then when you made it on the news, it was like a big deal, bro. And then motherfuckers would talk about that shit for months. You know what I'm saying? So I went back to school, and all the homies were like all jealous and shit. And I'm like, that's right, motherfuckers. Yeah, you know.
That's right.
It was like a little trophy, bro, being on the news for some graffiti shit. You know.
When was that? What year was that?
Fuck, homie, I want to say that was before I was even TKO, so it's fucking like 03 maybe.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Okay, because that was the news was prevalent then.
Oh yeah, bro.
Watch the news, yeah.
Like
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was.
Everyone watching news.
The internet
Yeah.
wasn't popping, nothing like what it is now, man, for sure. So everyone was watching that
It was
shit.
chat rooms at that time. That was all-
Dial up and shit.
That was it. Yeah, dial up chat rooms.
Hey, what were some of the first crews you were in, or crews you started when you guys were young?
Early on, man, me and my homie Joel, who I mentioned earlier, we had started a crew called MD. Yeah, it was MD. And then, you know, I started meeting other homies and shit, like in my high school, as I started, like, well, you know, like, this is still in Albuquerque. Yeah, I was meeting, like, older writers, and, you know, like, a couple of cats took me under their wing. My homie Alpha, he had a crew called ASPK, man. I used to think that was like the shit, you know, like, because when you're starting out, your high school's like a big deal, then your state's a big deal, and then you start traveling, and you see, like, you know, outside your state, it's a big deal. And then I just remember, like, being in high school, and that homie was like the man. He was really good, and I just remember, like, aspiring to be, like, down with one of his crews, you know what I'm saying? And then yeah, one day he put me down and shit, and I remember that, bro, that feeling, you know what I mean? And I was like, damn, how yeah, stepping stones and shit, you know?
Nice.
What about when you came out to Denver?
Denver, so I tried to bring, like, MD out here, but I didn't end up sticking with it, because I kind of lost communication with my homies and shit, because I was kind of, you know, I was on my Colorado shit, you know, by then when we moved out here. And then, yeah, when I linked up with Hizer, man, we started a crew called L4WO. Stands for Looking for Ways Out. And me and him started it just one night. I think we were like 17, 18 years old, bro. And we started it. Started putting it up in the streets. Started beefing with fools and building a rep off that shit, man. Then we started putting down fools. Later on, my homie Rove and Dams, and shout out to them and shit. And, you know, a couple other homies on the way, you know what I'm saying? And but for the most part, it's just been me and Hizer, you know, to this day, still repping it.
What about Tusk?
Tusk was down, yeah, but Tusk didn't get down till later on. Yeah, no, so like when I met Tusk and Payer, I want to say I met him around the same time. I met Tusk, Koze, Payer, Preach, all them, rest in peace.
Yeah.
I met all them kind of at the same time because when I first moved from Albuquerque to Aurora, there was these walls under 225 freeway. Everyone called them at that time the SK walls or the 225 walls. Yep. So I lived right there in those apartments and shit. So those walls were literally like my backyard walls.
Walking distance.
So I would go there almost every day after high school or wherever, on the weekends I'd go hang out there and just fucking, and I'd run into a bunch of riders. I ran into like so many riders there, and also I would just practice over there. I remember painting and buffing over shit all the time and just learning shit. But yeah, I met Tuss. I think down there. I met Payer. I met Koze, Preach, Act. A lot of riders, bro.
Sounds like the spot, right?
Well, back then it
used to be the spot.
Yeah, it was a big wall. It was a big like underpass, bro. Like
super secluded too.
Yeah, there was a river that went. Yeah. There was no light rail, no nothing right there. So it was like a field and then the freeway underpass. Yeah. So and then the walls were nice and flat. And it was like dirt underneath there. So it was perfect, bro. You go in there and you could roll it out and you could fucking hang out there fucking 8 hours if you wanted to.
Right.
Yeah. So, yeah, man. I met a lot of fools down there and I learned a lot, like painting, because I was always there. And, yeah, man, I was blessed actually to even have that in my surroundings, when I look back at it all.
How were you getting your paint back then? Sounds like you're doing a lot of painting.
Stealing. I mean, because I didn't have a whole lot of money until I got a job, you know what I'm saying? So I'd steal. What
was your best way to get the most cans?
Bro, at that time, it was just like Hobby Lobby, because there's a Hobby Lobby up the street. So, fucking, I would just walk out with paint, with like a cart full of paint. Back then it was Krylon. Yeah. They had Krylon. They didn't carry like all the shit they carry now with all the designer paint. And then later on, when I got down with TKO and I met like some of the homies from TKO out here, they were on a whole different fucking some Home Depot shit. Yeah, fucking walking out with some carts and shit. Hell yeah, 2 at a time and shit. Oh man, I remember that shit was. When I look back at it, I'm like, damn.
Hey, real quick, go back. How did you get down? How did you meet? You said you met Koze and them at the.
Yeah, I met Koze and them, and like they were crushing it, but I was more so into like my homies that I already knew. So at the time, I started coming around like Tusk and like a lot of the SK cats and shit at the time, and then Hizer was always still around too. So those were like my main homies that I painted with. And then I don't know, when I think like 04, 05, I just, man, like I remember seeing TKO like in a lot of graffiti videos. I mean like the old war videos and shit. So I was like, damn, well, I got my local homies, and then I got these fools that are in Colorado. They're like big leagues, you know what I'm saying? Right. Like they're TKO back then was like fucking it was crazy, bro. Yeah. So I was like, wow, I want to take my career, my graffiti career to the next level, and I want to paint with the big dogs, basically. So, like they already, like some of them kind of knew of me and they knew what I was doing and shit, but I wasn't like really heavy in the streets. I was bombing, you know what I mean? But I wasn't like heavy into it like how they were, climbing shit and all this crazy shit. So I just linked up with Koze one day, bro. My homie Hizer had already kind of like went that route,
made that connection with
right.
them.
Yeah. He went to AE first, and then I think he got down with TKO around that same time and shit. So he was already like on it, and I seen him doing this thing and shit. So I hit up the homie Koze because I heard he was like the main dog of TKO out here, and so he was like, well, all right, homie, well then fucking come meet me here, bro, and you know what I mean, like we'll fucking go out and paint on, and I'll see what you're about. And we went out and painted, and he taught me a lot, bro. He taught me about a lot of shit, man. Just being like street smart, like bombing wise, you know what I'm saying? Like dealing with bums and talking, keeping lookouts and shit, because I had never done that, like organized fucking
kind of organized
crime, bro. He was on his shit, bro. He had people keeping lookout, or how to climb shit properly, how to, all of that shit.
Yourself, right?
Yeah.
How to stay
being
clean.
Smart. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then from there on, I shut my mouth and I paid attention to what they would tell me, and And then they broke me down basically because I was already painting and shit, doing what I thought was cool. And then they were like, "Nah, homie, like you need to do some font letters. Like you need, I need to be able to read your shit, bro." So then I started doing font letters, like Western fonts and fucking script lettering and all this, and bold fucking letters. So, cause like they were freeway bombers, bro. So you needed that shit bold.
Right.
And yeah, man, I learned all that shit on the way, and I've been down since, man.
Right. Well, not when Koze put you down with TKO, you still got a call, right?
Like, what do you mean?
You got a call from Cali.
Oh, so like the way, like the whole initiation, like the way it works is
or back in the day at least.
Like back in the day, the way it worked was they had an undercrew back in the day. It was called T2. So they would put like a lot of the newer guys who wanted to get down with TKO into T2 to basically like see
where you're at, test yourself,
what they got,
shit, right?
And how good they are. Do they need help with their structures or their 3Ds, or do they need a bomb more or whatever, It was like a probation period basically. And so me and my homie Hizer, we were T2, and a few other homies, and I remember just being in T2, and it was like fucking going on a year, bro, and I was like, damn, this is some bullshit, dog. I was like, fucking man, we putting in mad work and shit. But the homie Koze had a plan for us, you know what I'm saying? So I didn't doubt him or I didn't question it. I said, fuck it. So anyways, me and Hizer, I think, and now I look back at it all, Hizer knew what the fuck he was doing back in the day. But he was like, yo, I'm from LA. Let's go out there, bro. Let's go out there and then meet the homies and shit and just fucking paint fucking LA, bro. It's gonna be a sick ass time, bro. So I was like, fuck it, I had never been to LA. So we drove out there in some bucket ass fucking Honda Civic and shit.
I was gonna say, was it a Hizer vehicle? That little
yeah, little Honda Civic and shit, the big ass exhaust. Yeah, it was definitely a fucking Hizer mobile. But yeah, man, we went out there, bro, and then we ended up linking with the main homie who started TKO, and it was Tumor T-Lokes. And I remember staying at like Tribe's house and then meeting all the other TKOs, like the big name fools from back in the day, you know what I mean? So we ended up staying there for like a weekend, and then like he hooked us up with the other homies, and we put in mad work when we went out there. We went out there and stole paint, got busy right away, bro. Put in some work and shit in LA. I remember getting chased by the cops and everything, bro. It was a crazy ass time. And so man, I think Tumor saw that. He saw that we made the effort to drive 17, 18 hours from fucking Denver to LA, just to meet the homies and put in work. And we were like 17, 18, I think, at the time.
So that was a fucking...
So he ended up fucking... they had a big old TKO meeting at the time, and he basically put us on. He was like, from now on, you motherfuckers are TKO, dog. So we went back fucking happy as fuck. I was like, hell yeah, homie.
You got put on by the fucking man himself, right?
Yeah, and then, he overrides anything, you know what I'm saying? So we went back, and then my boy Koze was like, what the fuck, homie? What happened, dog? I heard you fools put it down and shit, but why you smiling at me all crazy, dog? All sinister. And I was like, hey, homie, we're TKO now, dog. You need to relax, dog.
Yo, what was that like putting in work in LA?
It was crazy, bro. It was crazy because LA is a whole different world, man. You gotta worry about cops, enemies, fucking gangs, all that shit, bro. And then it's just chaotic all around you, bro. There's homeless people. There's just mad people around you.
It's active.
Yeah, so you gotta be on your P's and Q's. And then the way they bomb is on some whole different shit as well. It's very organized. Walkie-talkies, everything, man. So...
on some Fight Club shit, huh?
Well, it's just, you have to be one step ahead, bro.
You
You have to
have
be
to pay
smart, bro,
attention,
because in a city like LA, bro, like you'll get swallowed right away, bro.
It's another level.
You'll get smoked out there. You'll get stabbed. You'll get popped by the cop, whatever, bro. So you have to be on your P's and Q's when you're out there, bro. So, it just changed the whole fucking game for me with graffiti, like how much these other homies took this serious.
All right.
And I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna take this shit as serious. So we came back inspired, man. Back in the day, man, if you wanted like real inspiration outside the internet, you went to like New York or LA or like these big cities, bro, where graffiti's a fucking playground, you know what I mean? So you came back inspired and, fucking telling your homies about this, telling the burners you saw on this crazy freeway spot. Like, you know what I mean? So
we need to do that here.
It changed the game. Yeah, rollers and everything, bro. Big shit, bro. I remember seeing like the Saber fucking roller he did in the LA River, bro, and that shit was just like, what the fuck, homie? Like, I'm overthinking what I'm doing in little ass Denver is fucking sick. These motherfuckers are some
not even playing.
Godzilla type shit over here, dog.
Right.
So yeah, it was crazy, man. It came back and it's almost like militant minded, man. Just like how
on.
Yeah, so it was on after that, bro. It was on after that.
Have you hit New York? Have you done New York?
I haven't been to New York yet, man. There's a few places I haven't been to.
Not even to visit or nothing?
Nah, I had never been to New York or Miami, man. The only East Coast place I've ever been was Baltimore.
Okay.
But yeah, I have plans on that for sure, bro. Cause like New York's the motherland of all that shit, man. That's the birthplace of hip hop. So
yeah. The Hip Hop History Museum's opening soon.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah. Hey, who were some of your like inspirations, like graffiti wise, growing up, and even hip hop wise?
Inspirations early on. I mean, a lot of the local cats in Albuquerque, I would say first. Went Pesa, even Mike Giant. Fuck, man, Dial. The homie Gets and Bozo, man, they've been killing it for a long time. Whisk, this cat named Whisk was fucking super sick with style back in the day. Those were a lot of like the Albuquerque heads. Who else? Like when I moved to Denver, man, it was like Koze, Preach, Voice. Fuck, man. Who else? My homie Pear and Tuss for sure, bro. But I knew them, so it was a little different. You know what I'm saying? Like at first I knew them, so I was stoked to have homies that were like, high quality graffiti writers as well.
Right, like really like high quality.
Right,
because you're mentioning Koze and Preach, and those are guys that kind of took it to the next level.
Oh yeah,
for
I mean? Sure, bro. They took a lot of shit to the next level, man. And Voice as well, man. He's another one that's like still to this day puts in work, man.
Shout out to Voice.
Shoop, even Shoop, old school Shoop. I remember seeing him up in Albuquerque because he'd go up. He would be in Albuquerque out there like early on too. I remember seeing him, so I remember seeing RTD up a lot, especially with Dial, man. He would put in a lot of work out there for RTD. And yeah, man, a lot of my inspiration, to be honest, man, is like a lot of my own homies. I'm like pretty lucky, like to have and know a lot of my homies who are on that level as well, man. My homie Toomer, he taught me a lot as well, and he's one of the most like like famous tattooers that I personally know. So it's cool to know him as a person and shit, and eat with him and all that shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Hell yeah! I mean, he definitely got a lot of game coming from the bigger city. You know what I mean?
Right. Yep.
When did talk about like the heyday of like, you know what I mean, TKO, like when shit was like, I want to say War 4 when that shit was popping. Like,
yeah, I mean TKO. So I'm a little biased with all that shit, man. I feel like TKO back in the day, man, we definitely had a crazy impact. And I feel like we even laid down a lot of the blueprints for these a lot of like these newer crews be doing.
Everybody was on TKO.
Yeah, man, at one point or another,
Everybody
so
like
the impact of it was crazy, bro, because they did everything back in the day, man. They were a bombing crew, but they did everything, bro. They traveled, which was like, that shit blew my mind as well, like how big they were, like worldwide and shit. And when I got into TKO, I had connections all over the world, and I think that's dope as fuck because I could travel and get hospitality from fucking France or Brazil or wherever, bro. So like that shit was, I love that about TKO. But like shit hit the fan for a while, and a lot of cats had dropped, so the crew fucking went through kind of a dark phase for a little bit, and until recently, man, I would say probably like 3-4 years ago, man, we definitely revived it. You know what I'm saying?
No, for sure.
Going hard as fuck. You know what I'm saying? We had some You know, fucking we had a meeting and then we had some shit and changed some shit and we got it in order again and you know, fucking got that agenda going again and now we're the graffiti monsters of this shit again, man. So
no, for real. Now you guys are going worldwide. Like you said, you guys just went to Mexico, huh?
Yeah, I just got back from Tijuana. And we did some nice fucking vandalism out there.
How was that shit? That shit was crazy because Mexico's already sketchy, bro.
Man, Mexico's it's crazy, bro. It's fucking, it's dope and sketchy at the same time, man. So it keeps you on your toes, bro. And then I don't really speak Spanish, good like that. So it's like, I had to deal with that on top of it. But luckily I had my homies that, that do. And, we ended up having a great time, bro. And,
like, how much of a great time did you have?
A lot, bro. A lot. Great time, dog. Shout out to Tijuana and
what's the name
Hong Kong.
What's the name of the spot? Hong Kong.
Nah, man. But yeah, it was great, man. Like the hospitality too, man, of the local riders out there, man. They showed us nothing but love, and we rocked a sick ass fucking Godzilla Magzilla wall out there, and it was epic, bro. And like the food was great, fucking the women were great, the drugs were great. Yeah, all that shit, bro. Yeah. Good times, bro. Good times.
Yeah, and then recently too, you just came back from St. Louis, right, for Paint Louis?
Yeah, we got like a kind of like a last minute invite for Paint Louis, so we the homie Third actually hooked that up, and we ended up fucking having like 20-30 homies meeting us out there, and we rocked a big old wall, man. Like I want to say it was probably closer to like 160, 170 feet long. It was a big Mars Attacks wall, man. So it was fun, bro. Yeah, thank you, man. It was fun, bro. And the clever shit about it is we had like 20-30 TKOs out there. Everyone wants to paint, so we had to figure out a way how to incorporate everyone who was there onto the wall.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I felt, other crews have done like a Mars Attacks theme before and shit, but we wanted to take the shit and make it into some like TKO fucking Mars Attack shit. So, man, the composition, the layout of it fucking just worked out perfect, bro. And we got everyone, all 25 TKOs, to do their name or a tag on like a trash can that was in the scenery of the Mars Attacks production, or the abandoned buildings or whatever,
billboard.
So it worked out great, bro, and it was a fun time, homie, and everyone put in work for like those 3 days, bro. It was blood, sweat, and tears for sure at the end of that shit.
And a couple homies show up 2 days late. Shout out.
Yeah, man, we always have homies there. Yeah, no.
You said
they just got back like the other day.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
They just got back.
Shout out to my boy BJ and Dulce, man.
Shout
They
out.
put in fucking work, man. They're not always on time, but they fucking when they do get there, man, they show out for sure.
Right.
Man, my boy BGN's a beast with it, man. That dude fucking killing trains and shit, and he's just an animal with it, bro. And then little Dulce, man, she's got a lot of heart, bro. So she puts in a lot of a lot of work. So shout out to them, man. They ended up fucking coming through clutch for last minute. So then that's all that matters,
Yeah. What kind of different? Can you say what different cities were there from in St. Louis?
Like other riders or within TKO. Man, we had homies from, obviously Colorado, New Mexico, Omaha, Detroit, Milwaukee, LA, of course. Shit, man.
A little bit of everything.
San Antonio.
Yeah, man. We had
Gucci flip flops.
Yeah, like I said, man, we had like 25, 30 TKOs out there, bro. And then we had some homies from St. Louis as well that were there too. And shout out to them, bro, because they went out of the way to fucking show us mad love, hospitality. I don't even think I paid for any food out there, you know what I'm saying, or paint. So it was a great time, man.
Now, real quick, because Elvis was talking about this shit. He's talking about how gangster it is in St. Louis. How compare it to L.A.? Like, is it kind of on that level, but a little tamer? Like, just he said it was wild out there.
It is wild, bro. Wild. No, it is grimy, bro. Like, you could tell, like, their mentality, they don't give a fuck either. But that's like any city you go to, man. Every city's gonna have their parts.
But they're just so little, and it's so saturated on the east side, on the other side of the river.
Oh yeah,
That shit
yeah.
was
It was
crazy.
like night and day, bro.
Oh, bro, it was unreal.
I remember bombing out there, and
Yeah,
we had
over
little
there.
run-ins to some local cats out there,
Yeah.
bro. But we had to let them know, you know, like we're not from there, bro. We're just we're right here painting, bro. But we ain't interrupting on their business. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right,
So
absolutely.
nah, you know, to me it's all the same shit, bro. Every city's gonna have like their parts where like they're fucking they do not give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? They're real, you know, it's ignorant, arrogant, all in one. You know what I mean? Like that mentality. So. You know what I mean? Like, I know how to move, or, you know, around with, you know what I mean?
I'm going to tell them real quick. Whenever you're in a different city and you're bombing an abandoned building in the hood, it might not be an abandoned building. It might be a motherfucking trap
be a
house.
That's why you got to know someone who,
But even still,
man, like,
I was saying, hey, you and the homie go check out this warehouse over here on Slauson, 2 in the morning.
Where
Yeah,
the event,
right.
Where the event was super dope though, because it was like a grimy ass, like industrial area. It was perfect. It was
St.
like
Louis is
perfect.
dope, bro, because it's one of
It
the
was
oldest
dope.
cities in America, I guess. So
Brick City.
yeah, for real. And like painting on those bricks, bro, is a fucking
It's dope. It's the
love
best,
that, dog.
yeah,
like a clean brick, and you do a nice throwy. That shit's fucking fire right there. But yeah, man, it was fucking. It was a good time, bro. I hadn't been out there in probably like 15 years. You know, like we had a homie that used to live out there. My homie Boke, rest in peace.
Yo,
And,
R.I.P.
I remember visiting him back in the day and shit over there, and I remember how dope it was, but I just hadn't been out there in such a long time. So it was good to get back out there, you know?
Shit, why not? Was from there too, right?
Yeah, why not? You
R.I.P.
know, yeah, love, you know, yeah, man. Yeah, we had a couple TKs in it, yeah.
Hey, when you're bombing, what's like your go-to, man? Is it throwies? Is it fucking
Bombing?
Yeah.
Oh shit, man, all of it, bro. If it's a dope enough spot to where I could get in there and do like a little burner, I'll do a burner on that motherfucker. But if it's on some hot boy shit, like, you know, street side shit, throwy all day, fill-ins. But I even like tagging too, bro. I like tags, you know, silvers or streakers, whatever, bro. I like tagging. I like it. I like it all, bro. Like I said earlier, I'm a fan of it all. But when it comes to bombing, bro, you know, all that shit, straight letters, block letters, rollers. And then my throwy, bro. My throwy is like my
You be
trademark,
flipping it.
right? I have like a little clown face that I do for my O, and to me, like that's trademarking, bro. You know, that's
Stamp,
like,
yes.
yeah. So like that.
Even with the TKO, when you do it, like, oh, look at this fool.
Yeah, and then like I'll add my you know my little clown, you know, just to you know just to
That's
let
so
fools know
sick.
who did it in a way, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, bro, bombing is my favorite shit. Like there's nothing like that shit. Like when you do something dope and you get away with it, that shit's better than like sex, homie. You know what I mean? I love that shit, bro.
Even if it's a crazy night.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, if it's hot, it's even better too, bro. As long as you get away, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I've been in jail too, been sitting in jail, and it's been like, why the fuck am I doing this? Laughing at myself, like, you're a crazy motherfucker, dog. It's like some mental illness type shit. I'm over here trying to please other graffiti writers and shit. This is weird ass shit. If you really think about it, it's some weird ass shit, bro. But I love it, homie.
Yeah.
And I fucking, I can't explain it to my mom or dad, or you know what I mean? But I just know, they know how much passion I have for it and how much I love it, so they're just like, fuck it.
Right.
And life's too short to be doing some bullshit that you ain't, you know what I mean? So
Right.
Yeah, fuck it.
Hell yeah. How do you explain, like, you know, evolving your style, bro? Because it's always evolving.
So my whole idea behind that is like no two pieces are ever the same. They may have like the same foundation as far as like someone like of the letter structure, but I always build them to have just different energies and vibes to them. I'm real big on vibes as well. You know what I'm saying? Like I can look at a piece and it'll have a certain vibe or like a certain energy to it, and that's what it's about. If a piece can make you feel some type of way, like that shock value or something, then to me that's like, because I remember feeling that when I was young, looking at pieces in real life and that shock value. So that's always stuck with me. So I want other people to look at my shit and be like, what the fuck, homie? Is this fool smoking?
Right.
What? This fool doesn't even smoke weed? What the fuck's he doing then? You know what I'm saying? So I like
double
that.
take.
Yeah. So, and then not even that as well, man. It's just the creativity side of it, bro. And right now I'm like into layering. So it just keeps it fun, bro. And then certain formulas, man, different formulas. pushing shit like Elvis was talking about earlier. Like you start one formula, you know, like the traditional way. You outline, you fill, you outline again, and then you fucking do your 3Ds, whatever, and a little bit of background. Right. So, you know, and like, I like that formula. I respect it, especially the ones that have like pioneered that shit and perfected it. But to me, after I felt like I felt comfortable with it, I wouldn't say like perfected, but I would say like feeling comfortable with it. I would take that and on to another thing, man. You know what I'm saying? So I would take that and I'd push it. I always try to push my limits with anything. And yeah, and then I draw a lot too. Like whenever I'm not tattooing, I'll be drawing on my letters, you know.
Yeah, you draw a lot, huh?
Yeah, I try to draw like at least a couple times out of the week. I try to push myself like once a day, but it doesn't always work out like that. So a couple times out of the week, I try, bro. And it just keeps it interesting, man. It keeps it fun. And then feeding off my homies too, you know what I'm saying? That's always been big with me as well.
Because you like you said, like you kind of, there's been a resurgence and people, there's more people now than there was before going out, doing stuff, even doing legals, doing whatever, you know what I mean? And
then that's another thing too, man, is sticking out, you know. I don't know if it's just me, bro, but I feel like graffiti's I don't know if an all-time low is the right word for it, but I'm like kind of uninspired by a lot of shit on the internet.
Is it because of the internet?
I guess, bro. Probably. But everyone's just writing the same names of these fools that have put in work way before you. You know what I mean? So it's like the graffiti rules. A lot of these newer cats ain't really like following them, or maybe they just don't know better, and maybe no one taught them. I don't know. So there's a whole lot of that shit going on, especially in Denver, that I see. You know, so
like off top, you would think, like, you know what I mean. But that's kind of like,
well, I mean, I would assume, but not everyone grows up the way I grew up, or not everyone met the same people that I was lucky enough to meet, so they didn't learn early on like I did.
Shit.
Right.
Yeah, you know, so it's one of those things too, man. So what I do, man, is if I could inspire, you know, my homies or some cat from the hood, from Westwood or Aurora, the East Side or wherever, bro, if you know, and then like they could see what I look like as well, like being a Chicano artist, you know, growing up poor and all that shit, or humble. I shouldn't even say poor. Poor's in other countries, so I say humble. But growing up humble and all that shit, and having drug addict parents and shit, and then take it to the level that I try to push it, like high quality shit, and like nice fucking elaborate pieces that were thought out productions. Mm-hmm. Like if I can inspire someone, bro, to me that means the world, you know what I'm saying? And then I probably inspired that kid who's gonna end up being a fucking animal later on. You know, you never know. Right. So to me, I try to push those boundaries, bro, and I hope maybe one day someone just, you know what I mean, takes what I, you know, maybe they saw something that I did and fucking runs with it, bro. And then they inspire other people. Right, continues down the line. Hell yeah. Like it's that cycle, you know what I'm saying? And then in the Chicano culture, man, we need more of that as well, man. You know, it's growing up Chicano as well, man, and being an artist and all that shit too. It's just living that life, bro. Yeah, you know, and you know, a lot of, you know, in Chicano culture, you know, there's a lot of clowning that goes on, a lot of shit talking early on, bro. So it you know, like if you're trying to paint shit outside of what like maybe your uncle likes or your cousins, they'll clown you, bro. You know, you trying to be like a white boy, or you fucking this fool dog thinks he's Picasso and shit. You know what I mean? Cause I'm over here trying to draw like some fucking portraits or something. You know what I mean? So I've definitely asked you to look at some shit and you're like, I wouldn't put that out because the big homie's gonna clown on you and start talking mess. I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, homie. So you know, and then I didn't go to art school or college or any of that shit. So all this shit's like basically. You're like La Bamba. No, I'm just playing. Nah, you know, it's just like I don't even like to say self-taught either, bro, because I was lucky enough to have homies that like had put me on the shit. So, but I learned shit as I went, bro, and I paid attention. I shut my mouth and I let my ego aside for the most part with, you know, as far as learning and shit, and I just took what I understood and I ran with it, bro. You know.
Those were all your teachers in a way.
Hell
you know
yeah.
I mean? So,
hell yeah. And I'm lucky enough to even have my homies that definitely inspired me early on, bro. You know what I'm saying? Some of the best. Hell yeah, bro. Man, definitely. Yeah, you know, that's why I love TKO too, man, because it's some of the realest people that I've met, bro. And I keep it loyal, bro, even through all the bullshit. you know, all those years of the bullshit and then coming back. So the lowest to the highs, bro. I just remember all the homies that believed in me even more than I believed in myself at the time. You know what I'm saying? So I keep it loyal with the homies in the crew. You know?
No, for sure.
Yeah.
But man, I hear you're a motherfucking Raiders fan, fool. What's up with that bullshit?
All day, every day, homie.
To the death or what?
Yeah, well, yeah, man, loyalty, bro. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, my dad was a Raider fan, and his dad before that, yeah, man. So it's passed down.
Generational shit.
I hope Broncos hear this shit. Oh, yes.
There you have it. No.
That's cool shit.
Yeah.
Hey, like I said, homie, I got love for the Broncos because they got me through the whole COVID shutdown
The hard
and shit.
times.
That's
Shout out
what's
to
up.
Von Miller, man. That fool, he looked out. He might have gave me COVID, but he looked out on some other shit. Dude.
Oh yeah.
Top flight security of the world.
Damn
He
right.
might have gave
Hell
you
yeah.
COVID.
Well, shit, man. We definitely appreciate you coming on the podcast.
Yeah, right on, man. Appreciate you guys having me.
Real quick, before we do head off, what kind of advice would you give out to the youngsters out there trying to do it in the game, man, like you? Because, you know what I mean? Like I said, your levels have just elevated, and they continue to elevate at such a alarming rate. Not alarming rate, but you know what I mean?
No, I mean, I know what you're saying. I would just say, man, just stick to you, man. Don't even try to be like me. Just be you. Also, man, fuck all the naysayers or anyone that has any bullshit to say about anything that you try to do, man. Just stay true to yourself. Listen to yourself more. Don't be a follower. Be a leader, man. And just do you and put in the work. Draw, man. Draw. And don't stop being inspired by shit, man. You know what I mean? And just push yourself and push your peers. That's another thing, man. Be a team player.
Help your people.
Because that
man.
shit always comes back, man. 360. It always comes back. So be a team player, you know, and just do your own thing and put in the work, and you'll go noticed, man. You know what I mean? Hard work pay. You know, it pays off eventually. You know. So that's pretty much it.
Oh yeah, well, like I appreciate you, brother, once again. You know what I mean? Coming on.
Oh yeah, thank you, man.
Giving us some nice shit.
Shout out to all you guys, man. You guys always show me love throughout the years, man. Crook, Joe already knows, and fucking Elvis, man, always showing mad love and support, bro. And I appreciate it. Me and the homies really appreciate that shit. It's all love, man.
Oh yeah,
So,
straight up, bro.
it was cool.
Appreciate
it was cool.
you, man.
Yeah.
Much love, my
Thank you
bro.
very
Much
much for
love.
coming through, bro. That was dope.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. We'll do it again. Part
sure.
2 soon.
We out.
Yeah. Word.
Peace.
Peace.
Woohoo.